Hi, everybody. We are back for another episode of Mother De La Morte. So let's wait for the notifications to go out. And hopefully, our chats are working this week. Hopefully, Facebook isn't doing whatever it was they were doing last week. So we're going to give everybody a little bit of time to file in. And I'll go ahead and start on our house cleaning. Also, if you are new here, please say hello and let us know where you're from. We are always glad to have new people here in the crypt. Yay, we love new victims. And so Maud says, we are also streaming to Eaton tonight. Hello, Eaton. And guys, if you haven't gone and joined the Eaton group, you guys need to do it. It's a lot of good stuff in there, a lot of fun. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with a house cleaning tonight. Also, don't forget, if you are like participating in the cipher game, tonight we will be doing clue 2, okay? And then we've got one more clue next week, and then you're on your own to figure it out. Oh no! So, but I hope you guys are having fun with it. I hope you guys were able to figure out last week's clue. And for the people in here that did ask for like vertigo warnings and things like that, I did make sure that the background is not moving because vertigo is no fun. I know I've had it before and it's absolutely no fun. So there's that. And also last week you can go back and you can always just, fast forward to the code from last week and just pause it. That way the background's not spinning. So let's go ahead and get started on our house cleaning. So of course, again, I know I say this every week, but it's true. Facebook is getting more aggressive with reach, especially with pages that do have content that's more of a darker taste, with the serial killers and things like that, and that have a healthy following. If our organic outdoes what Facebook's paid advertising would do, they get really kind of upset about that, and they get a little douche canoey on that. So because of that, please make sure you share out to anybody that you think might be interested in our kind of content. Like I said, we always like new people here, both in PBDC and here in the crypt. Let's see. So we did the share outs. The newsletter, the second issue is out. The third newsletter will be coming out somewhere around the first half of July. So if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, please go and do that. Lots of information, especially when we run like these special games and things like that. So there's that. And we've got some things in the work that we're thinking about doing that should be fun too, that are interactive with you guys, our supporters. So lots of fun. Let's see, if you haven't liked our YouTube yet, please do so. And you can actually do that directly from our website. And you can find our websites located in the About section on our Facebook pages, both for Psychomantium 13, PBDC, PBDC TV. We've got 3 websites, and they're all linked together, so you'll never get lost. Let's see, we have a watch page, so you can get caught up on all the back episodes of your favorite artists here that have elected to be in that program, and you can find that as well on a clickable link to our watch page. If you have a business, group, or product and you're looking to advertise, PBDC TV now has limited sponsorship spaces available, and they are becoming more limited because we've got some big news coming up. I can't announce it yet. We're still working out just some of the stuff you have to work out for sponsorships and stuff. So, but they are becoming more limited. So if you want to get in on that, you can contact us here on Facebook or through any of our 3 websites on the contact page to get a hold of our rates and things like that. And they're very, very reasonable. You get a lot from those paid sponsorships. Also, you can, like I said, you can reach us here through Facebook or our website. All right. So let's see what's going on in the comments real quick. And then we're going to get started. But I'm going to show you something, though, after the comments. So let's see what's going on in the comments. And then I want to show you something that Mother De La Morte received. Big thank yous to go out. All right, so look, it looks like we've got Raven here. Hi, Raven. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Maud. Hi, Mikey. And let's see. Mikey says, Ma, there's a skeleton lady on this here thingy multi-jig. She's going to tell stories. Ma. And then Chris is here. Hi, Chris. So glad to see you back. Hi, John. And I'm trying to keep my finger out of y'all's faces. Hi, Calvin. Let's see who all we've got here. All right, so we've already got pretty much a full house. All right, so let's close that out. All right, and I did want to show this. So Mother De La Morte, I do have a P.O. box. If you ever want to send me gifts, I love gifts. Or if you want to send me your art, I could show it off on my live streams. Anything like that, just contact me and I can give you the P.O. box number. But I received all kinds of goodies from D-Face last week. So I'm super excited about that. All kinds of pictures. Let's see. Really cool. Think of like the Grimm's brothers, and then newly released, well, not newly released, but fairly newly released when you look at it in perspective with the Brothers Grimm, the Grimm's Grimmiest, which are more of the original stories that haven't been watered down to make them more appealing to children. So if you've never read Grimm's Grimmiest, which are, like I said, rewrites of the original tales that are quite disturbing, that's what a lot of people think of as cautionary tales. But cautionary tales were especially popular during the late 18th century, going into the 19th century and 20th century. And it says, Maud says, you're 446 years old. And that's new to you. Yes. Yes. You know, but of course, a lady, a proper lady, never divulges her age. So, you know, cautionary tales were something, especially during the Victorian era, that would teach children lessons through story. There are a lot of them out there, and there are a lot of them that are in public domain now that you may not have heard of. And those are the ones that we're going to talk about tonight. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got three books of cautionary tales, and I've pulled out probably the best and just craziest and most disturbing out of those. And they're some of my Mother De La Morte's personal favorites. So like we know, learning can be a painful process, especially for children. One has to fall just to learn how to stand up or make a mistake in order to learn what is right. But nothing is as hard as learning the system of ethics. Children's stories are an excellent example of teaching and learning ethics through the actions and consequences of both the protagonist as well as the antagonist. The former is the innocent with a sense of good and evil for which he is rewarded in the end. The latter does everything wrong and is punished. Traditionally, children's cautionary tales are children's books in which the main characters are all children who end up severely punished or dead. And we can run clip one. And I hope I've timed this right. I did pretty good last week. Are we froze? No, okay, all right. All right, here we go. All right, so a cautionary tale is a tale told in folklore to warn its listener of danger. There are three essential parts to a cautionary tale, though they can be introduced in a large variety of ways. First, a taboo or prohibition is stated. Some act, location, or thing is said to be dangerous. Then the narrative itself is told. Someone is disregarding the warning and perform the forbidden act. Finally, the violator comes to an unpleasant fate, which is frequently related in expansive and grisly detail. So as you saw on there tonight, we're going to be covering three books. And see, I could say this without having to try to say it on TV. Der Stupide, Sovnlige Betsy, And the cautionary tales for children, hashtag designed for the admonishment of children between the ages of 8 and 14. So those are the ones that we're going to be going over tonight. All right, so we can go ahead. Yes, those right there. So Sue Peter, which is one of my favorites, and Cautionary Tales, which is another absolute favorite of mine. And then Solvent Betsy, which it's got some good ones in there. All right, so we can go ahead and we can run clip 2. So Dear Sue Peter is an 1845 German children's book by Heinrich Hoffmann. It comprises 10 illustrated and rhymed stories, mostly about children. Each has a clear moral that demonstrates the disastrous consequences of misbehavior in an exaggerated way. And, fun fact, the first copy that was translated into American of Sue Peter was actually translated by Mark Twain. So, the first story. Okay, we can stop for just a second. I think I didn't time it right. All right, so the first one, which is Sue Peter himself. Just look at him. There he stands with his nasty hair and hands. See, his nails are never cut. They are grimed as black as soot. And the Soven, I declare, never once has combed his hair. Anything to me is sweeter than to see Shockhead Peter. And now we're going to get to this one. So this is a good one. This is the story of, can we back up just a little bit to the beginning of the story? A little bit more. Oh, there we go. That's good. Okay. So one day Mama said, Conrad, dear, I must go out and leave you here. But mind now, Conrad, what I say. Don't suck your thumb while I'm away. The great tall tailor always comes to little boys that suck their thumbs. And ere they dream what he's about, he takes his great sharp scissors and cuts their thumbs clean off. And then you know they never grow again. Mama had scarcely turned her back. The thumb was in, ack, ack, ack. The door flew open, in he ran. The great, long, red-legged scissor man. Oh, children, see the tailor's come and caught our little suck-a-thumb. Snip, snap, snip, the scissors go. And Conrad cries out, oh, oh, oh. Snip, snap, snip, they go so fast that both his thumbs are off at last. Mama comes home where Conrad stands and looks quite sad and shows his hands. Ah, said Mama, I knew he'd come to taught little snotty suck-a-thumb. So that's that. I like that one. Let's see what's going on in the chats real quick. So Rebecca says, I got my kid getting sick. Sorry, have a good night. Well, thank you for joining us, Rebecca. And then John says, the true thumb cutter. When I was a kid, a German kid up the street had that book. Scared me to death. Yes, it's a really good book. There's a big debate, and there is an author. She's a writer, and I can't think of her name right now, John, but she goes into like a really big debate on, it seems like right now kind of the popular thing is, of course, we want to protect our children, but there is something about frightful stories that can be healthy. They can be healthy in a sense to where they teach a child that sometimes bad things happen, and there can be no explaining it sometimes. And that's something that you need to be, your coping skills need to be prepared for when you get older and become an adult. But fear is a great motivator. It's worked for human cubs since probably the dawn of time. So yeah, the whole and I'm sure as parents we've used it, don't make that face, your face will freeze that way. That's kind of where, that kind of line of thing goes. So, and then Mikey says, ooh, another good story. I don't know if it was a cautionary tale, but the story of the girl and the ribbon around her neck. That probably could be more about like keeping your word, because there are usually like morals behind stories like that. But it does make good just for a good campfire story too. And then Liz says these aren't cautionary tales; they are bad parenting lies for lackey kids. And then Stephen, the kitty cat's here. Yay! Hi, Stephen. He said I was over at PBDC and there's no feed there. Oh my goodness. I should pay more attention. Well, that may be Facebook. Who knows? Let's see. All right, so we'll get to our next one. And I'll try to keep up. Like I think I might have had more pictures last time. I don't know. All right, so we can go ahead and roll the next clip. The story of cruel Frederick. This is Frederick. This is Frederick. A naughty, wicked boy was he. Hold on just a second. Okay. He caught the flies, poor little things, then tore off their tiny wings. He killed the birds and broke the chairs and threw the kittens down the stairs. And oh, far worse, worse, he whipped his good and gentle nurse. The trough was full, the faithful Tray, which is a dog, came out to drink one slurry day. He wagged his tail and wet his lips. Then cruel Fred snatched up a whip and whipped poor Tray till he was sore, and kicked and whipped him more and more. And at this good Tray grew very red, and growled and bit him till he bled. And bit him till he bled. And then you should only have been by to see how Fred did scream and cry. So Frederick had to go to bed. His legs were very sore and red. The doctor came and shook his head and made a very great to-do and gave him bitter psychs too, which are medications. But good dog Tray is happy now. He has no time to say bow wow. He sits himself in Frederick's chair and laughs to see the nice things there. The soupy swallows sup by sup and eats the pies and puddings up. So please don't be cruel to your animals, because they will bite back and it's not their fault. So, all right. So this may wind up being a little bit shorter feed than I thought. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to go for a commercial break, if that's okay with the man behind the curtain. And then we will get started on our next cipher. And of course, I'll give you a minute to get a pen and paper. And this will be your next cipher after the station identification.
This is Mr. Applewhite speaking. Do not attempt to adjust your device. There is nothing wrong with it. I am here to deliver a message. Join Psycho Bunny Death Cult in our anti-censorship campaign. Free your mind. Free your head.
And we're back. All right, guys. So let's see what's going on in the comments real quick. Like I said, I'm going to give you, like a minute, like we did last time, a minute for you to get your paper and your pencil and get ready for the next cipher. So let's see what's going on in the chats while everybody's doing that. Let's see. Mikey says, wow, what a tool that Fred is. Yes. But I think we've all known a Fred, whether they were named that or not, that were cruel to the animals. So yes, do not be cruel to the animals. They will bite back. And then John says that kid got what he deserved. He absolutely did. And then John also says, Mother, did you use any tales like this on Odd Daughter? we read these kind of things. She's heard them, and so it's not an overly strict household. But mother is fairly strict, but she's a good kid. So, and then let's see. Mikey says certain books really did scare the crap out of me. Yeah, some can be scary. Some can be scary. Let's see. All right. Okay, so does everybody have their pen and pencil and piece of paper? And we'll go ahead and we'll play the next cipher. And this is clue number 2. All right, so may Lady Luck be in your favor. And like I said, one more clue. next week will get you where you need to be down the rabbit hole. Okay, you're still traveling down the rabbit hole right now, but next week's clue will get you where you need to be, and then you're on your own to follow any instructions. So the way that this will work is the first person that contacts me, and you'll know how to do it, contacts me with the correct answer will not only get a shout out here, but we're going to also put the winner in our newsletter. And also, you might receive a little something from me. So lots of fun stuff. And then what we're thinking about doing, I don't know what we're going to do for the month of July, August. We may have one of our other content artists come up with their own cipher for you guys. And of course, if there's a cipher key, it will be in our next newsletter. So make sure you sign up for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we've got some other interactive things that we're thinking about doing that I think you guys will enjoy, especially here in the summer when everybody's getting out and doing things and stuff like that. So let's see what's going on in the comments. And then I'm going to get to Solvin' Betsy. So that's the next book in the series of 3 books that I pulled some stories from. And John, it's not be sure to drink your Ovaltine. Believe you me, we did play around with that, but no, it is not be sure to drink your Ovaltine. Number 9, number 9, number 9. See, I know that. Leave me on, dead man. All right, let's see. Let me go back up here to where I haven't read yet. Let's see. And then so Mikey says the music really does creep me out. Kudos to you on that one. Well, thank you. Thank you. Those were some real number stations that you heard. And the one that reminds me kind of like the opening scene, the Beethoven opening scene, I think it's Beethoven. Is it Beethoven? For Clockwork Orange is kind of what that music kind of reminded me of. So let's see what else we got going on here. Epstein didn't kill himself. Well, this is true too. This is true too. Even the vegetable soup says so. And then Mike says maybe it's a clue to the zodiac. I don't know. Uh-oh. There we go. Let's see. And John says, I want to talk to you about your car's extended warranty. No, I would not pull that on you guys, even though I have said that if I see any of y'all broke down on the side of the road, I'm leaving your ass there because you had plenty of time to purchase a warranty for your car. And then Mike says, it's a map to Sesame Street. Yay! Phenomena. Do, 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 do. Phenomena. Now that's in your head. All right. So let's get on to our next one. So Solvin' Betsy was also written by Heinrich Hoffmann. As a German psychiatrist and doctor, he had written poetry and sketches for his son and was persuaded to have a collection of these printed. These were printed between 1809 and 1894. The stories were not perceived as cruel or overly moral or overly immoral. Overly moral by Hoffmann's contemporaries. This American version contains a few of the stories from the original German Stutpeter as well, because he was the writer of that too. This is a turn-of-the-century Americanization of the famous mortality tales of Dr. Heinrich Hoffmann, and it is sure to please the darker side of any older girl or boy. For not for the faint of heart, these tales, though classics, are the stern stuff of a Victorian era in which today's light can be quite entertaining. So we can go ahead and we can run the next clip. And this is the dreadful story of Pauline and the Matches. Mama and Nurse went out one day and left Pauline all alone at play. Around the room she gaily sprang, clapped her hands, danced and sang. Now on the table close at hand a box of matches chanced to stand, and kind Mama and Nurse had told her that if she touches them they would scold her. But Pauline said, oh, what a pity, for when they burn it is so pretty. So she may have been a bit of a pyro. They crackle so and spit and flame, and Mama often burns the same. I'll only light a match or two, as I have often seen my mother do. When Mince and Moz the cats heard this, They said, "Oh, naughty, naughty miss." Meow, they cried. Meow, meow. You'll burn to death if you do. So Mama forbids it, don't you know? But Pauline would not take advice. She lit the match. It was so nice. It crackled so, it burnt so clear, exactly like the picture here. She jumped for joy and ran about and was too pleased to put it out. When Mince and Moz, the cats, saw this, they said, "Oh, naughty, naughty miss," and raised their paws and stretched their claws. "'Tis very, very wrong, you know. Meow, meow, meow. You will be burnt if you do so. Mama forbids it, don't you know?" Now see, oh see, a dreadful thing. The fire has caught her apron string. Her apron burns, her arms, her hair. She burns all over. Then how the pussycats did mew. What else, poor pussycats, could they do? They screamed for help, 'twas all in vain. So then they said, "We'll scream again. Make haste, meow, meow. She'll burn to death, we told her so." Pauline was burnt with all her clothes, her arms and hands and eyes and nose, till she had nothing more to lose, except her little scarlet shoes. And nothing else but these were found among her ashes on the ground. And when the good cat sat beside the smoking ashes, how they cried, "Meow, meow, meow. What will Mamma and Nursey do?" Their tears ran down their cheeks so fast, they made a little pond at last. Don't play with matches, kids. All right, and the next one, and we can, let's see. I'll get through it a little bit and then we'll play the clip. Hold on. This one is called The Crybaby. "Oh, why are you always so bitterly crying? You surely will make yourself blind. What reason on earth for such sobbing and sighing, I pray, can you possibly find? There is no real sorrow, there's nothing distressing to make you thus grieve and lament. Ah, no, you are just at this moment possessing whatever should make you content." So, in other words, she cried if she didn't get her way. "Now do, my dear daughter, give over this weeping." Such was a kind mother's advice, but all was in vain, for you see she kept keeping her handkerchief up to her eyes. But now she removes it, and oh, she discloses a countess full of dismay, for she certainly feels, or at least she supposes, her eyesight is going away. She is not mistaken, her eyesight is departing. She knows it and sorrows the more, then rubs her sore eyes to relieve them from smarting, and makes them still worse than sore than before. And now the poor creature is cautiously crawling and feeling her way around. And now from their sockets her eyeballs are falling. See, there they are down on the ground, my children, from which an example take warning, and happy lives while you may. And say to yourselves when you rise in the morning, I'll try to be cheerful today. There it is, her eyeballs on the ground. She cried her eyes out. That's where the saying comes, I guess. All right, so let's see what's going on in the comments real quick. And then we'll get to the next book, which is the Cautionary Tales for Children, designed for the admonishment of children between the ages of 8 and 14. So let's see. Playing with matches is so dangerous. I can see scarring kids in this case. Yes. And actually, I remember when I was in first or second grade, there was a girl in our classroom that like school hadn't started. It was still fall. And she caught on fire, doing something, not being careful. And was in the hospital for most of the year and had to get skin grafts and stuff. So yeah, it's I would rather my daughter or my son be a little scarred from a tail than to be actually scarred from a burn. Yes, and Liz says, can Stephen P. Kitty Cat, can we get a meow translation? And then Maud says, Mama always said matches are like a box of chocolate. You never know which house you'll burn down. Yes, Stephen P. Kitty Cat, listen to the freaking cats. They know. And then Mikey said, I was a pyro till it almost burnt down the apartment. I imagine that had to be scary. The cat looked like it's flipping her off. It does. I didn't even think about that. Then Mikey says, never play with matches. He knows. Let's see. And then John agrees, playing with matches, that he thinks it's okay to scare a kid to keep him from doing that. And then Liz says, what the hell? I'm telling you, some of these are crazy. I mean, there's a lot more in these books. And like I said, you can get them. They're free Google reads, or you can go to Project Gutenberg. And they're all like ebooks. They're in the public domain. So there's some ones, but I'm going to tell you, they are old school, like really, really, really old school. So if you're easily offended by certain things, these may not be books for you, because they do have certain stories in there that are not considered appropriate these days. But it is history. And as an armchair historian, and I know you guys enjoy history, especially creepy history and things like that. You have to take it in context. It was a time in history, and it shows what we have learned. So if you try to hide that kind of stuff, you're more apt to repeat that kind of stuff. All history is important. That's what I'm trying to get to. Stop, drop, and roll. That's what the interpretation was. All right. Hi, Otis. It's okay. You can always do hashtag replay, and we've got 2 more. So you are not late. And Liz said, did she cry her eyes out? Yes, she cried her eyes out. Didn't you see them on the ground in a puddle of tears? She literally cried her eyes out of her sockets. So don't be crybabies, people, if you don't get your way. All right. So Cautionary Tales, the book Cautionary Tales. So let me close out these comments real quick. Cautionary Tales for Children, designed for the admonishment of children between the ages of 8 and 14, is a 1907 children's book written by Hilaire Belloc. It is a parody of the cautionary tales that were popular during the 19th century. Illustrated by Belloc's friend from Oxford, Basil Temple Blackwood. It is in similar style to the Bad Children's Book of Beasts, which I could not find, but I'm sure it's out there, which had brought Belloc public acclaim and commercial success a decade earlier. The book contains an introduction and 11 tales, all written in rhyme and couplets. All right, so the first one we're going to start, and Man Behind the Curtain, if you want to do it like we did that last one, give me just a minute to get into the story, and then you can start it. All right, this one is titled Jim. There was a boy whose name was Jim. His friends were very good to him. They gave him tea and cakes and jam, and slices of delicious ham, and chocolate with pink insides, and little tricycles to ride. I was thinking they were thinking about cakes. And read him stories through and through, and even took him to the zoo. But there it was, the dreadful fate befell him, which I now relate. You know, at least you ought to know, for I have often told you so, that children never are allowed to leave their nurses in a crowd. Now this was Jim's special forte. He ran away when he was able, and on this audacious day, he slipped his hand and ran away. He hadn't gone a yard when, bang, and we can go ahead and start it now. Bang. With open jaws, a lion sprang and hungrily began to eat the boy, beginning at his feet. And now just imagine how it feels when first your toes and then your heels, then by graduating degrees, your shins and ankles and calves and knees are slowly eaten bit by bit. No wonder Jim detested it. No wonder that he shouted, "Hey!" The honest keeper heard his cry. Though very fat, he almost ran to help this little gentleman.
Hello?
Uh-oh. Hey.
We just had a power outage.
Oh no, are we not going live?
Give me a second, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Everything just went out. I'll turn everything back on here in a second.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Oh,
And it looks like right now with their power outage, we can't do the rest of the videos, but at least we got through the cipher. So we'll go back through Jim real quick. And that should close us out at about the right time. So, because I think we were going to finish a little early. So, we're rewinding. Jim is the name of this one. There was a boy whose name was Jim. His friends were very good to him. They gave him tea and cakes and jam and slices of ham and chocolate with pink insides and a little tricycle to ride and read him stories, through and through, and even took him to the zoo. But there it was, the dreadful fate befell him, which I now relate. You know, at least you ought to know, for I have often told you so, that children never be allowed to leave their nurses in a crowd. Now, this was Jim's special forte. He ran away when he was able, and on this audacious day, he slipped his hand and ran away. He hadn't gone a yard when, bang, with open jaws, a lion sprang and hungrily began to eat the boy, beginning at his feet. Now, just imagine how it feels when first your toes and then your heels, and then by graduating degrees, your shins and ankles, calves and knees are slowly eaten bit by bit. No wonder Jim detested it. No wonder that he shouted, "Hey!" The honest keeper heard his cry. Though very fat, he almost ran to help the little gentleman. "Pronto!" he ordered as he came, for Ponto was the lion's name. "Ponto!" he cried with an angry frown. "Let go, sir! Down, sir! Put it down!" The lion had made a sudden stop. He let the dainty morsel drop and slunk reluctantly into his cage, snarling with disappointing rage. But when the man bent over Jim, the honest keeper's eyes were dim. The lion having reached his head, the miserable boy was dead. So don't run away from your parents, kids, not in a crowd. You could get eaten by a lion all the way up to your head. The end. All right, so John was hearing me loud and clear. Let's see. I notice how cats take on a sinister role in all of these stories. They do. They do. Let's see. Hold on just a second. They made a movie of this one. It was called Grizzly Man. They recast the lion as a bear. Really? Or is Kitty Cat just messing with Odd Mamas? Yes, it was California Blackout. Cats again. Steve Gutenberg. It's called it's out of Germany. It's called the Gutenberg Project. Gutenberg Project. All right. So our last one is called Rebecca. A trick that everyone abhors. A little girl is slamming doors. A wealthy banker's little daughter who lived in Palace Green, Bayswater. By name Rebecca Offendort was given to this furious sport. She would deliberately go and slam the door like Billy Ho to make her Uncle Jacob start. She was not really bad at heart, only rather rude and wild. She was an aggressive child. It had happened that a marble bus of Abraham was standing just above the door. This little lamb had carefully prepared to slam, and down it came. It knocked her flat. It laid her out. She looked like that. Her funeral sermon, which was long and followed by a sacred song, mentioned her virtues, it is true, but dwelt upon her vices too, and showed the dreadful end of one who goes and slams the doors for fun. The children who were brought to hear the awful tale from far and near were much impressed and idly swore they never more would slam the door as often as they had before. All right. So that actually, that's it. That's really the end. But I really, really do recommend you go out and take a look at these books. Like I said, you can get them free on the Google Reads and the ebooks and through Gutenberg Project. They're a lot of fun, and there's a whole lot of different tales in there. Also, I also want to thank all of our viewers and supporters. Without you, none of this is possible. And if you would like to further support the artist here, please check out our coffee bar on our website and buy us a coffee to Ko-Fi. It's a really easy way rather than do like patrons and things like that. You can do them as reoccurring or one-time coffee purchases. It's just a way to support us for the price of a cup of coffee. You can do that. That's an option there to kind of, help with the back end and things like that. Because there's a lot of costs that do go into producing, the channels. So, but we do it because we love you guys, and if it wasn't for you guys, it wouldn't be worth it. So, thank you very much. I really, really do appreciate it. We all appreciate it here. And let's see what's going on in the comments, and then I'm going to wish you a goodbye. Let's see. And Ma says we are back. And then Stephen says, Gutenberg, as in the guy that invented the movable type. Yes. Yes. And I'm sure they take a play off that name to name it the Gutenberg Project. So, all right. Well, guys, I hate we had that little hiccup, but I'm glad that you guys didn't lose me. So, but anyway, like I said, we've got some big news coming up soon. Can't say anything just because until everything is settled, like completely, we don't like to announce things like that. But some really, really, really big opportunities have opened up for us, and so we're super excited about that. We've got a lot of really cool upcoming guests that we can't talk about yet. As much as I really want to, we can't just because until they're scheduled, we do not consider them confirmed, even though we've got some confirmations on some stuff. So we got to get them scheduled first, and I think those are going to be super exciting. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been really busy this week, so we had to come up with something kind of in a pinch. Next week, I think I'm going to be doing something on probably a serial killer that you guys have probably never heard of before. I know we've covered a lot of serial killers, but this one was even a new one to me. So I'm going to try to do the research on that, even though there's quite a bit of research. So, but it should be fun and something new. Maybe you'll learn something new. Maybe you guys, already know about it, but it'll be fun. So I got to get started on that research. So I hope you guys have a great rest of the week and weekend, and pleasant nightmares, everybody. Bye.
This is Mikey from Out of the Ordinary, and you're watching PBDC TV.
When I'm listening to music and getting a little bit of time for some creepy research, I'm always representing with my PBDC merch. What a better way to have a cup of coffee in the morning.
Don't forget to check out our other cool merch at rootsbleedred.com. That's rootsbleedred.com.
This is Professor Edgar Fluffosaurus from Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, and when I'm not hosting Monster Chat or knocking down small Japanese cities, I'm watching PBDC TV. Now back to the show.
Hey, good morning. For most of you, it's past midnight, or it is midnight, the witching hour. I'm Cowboy Ben Maril, your host for Bedtime Stories for Bed, the adult hour. Boodles is in bed, at least he should be. He had a good time earlier when we talked about cannibalism in West. And we're going to do a part 2 tomorrow before Joe comes on with a very special movie. He's happy to be back showing movie. So he's going to do a good one tomorrow for y'all. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Navajo legend of the Skinwalkers. And if there's any problem with the audio, let me know in the comments. Ollie. And hi, Natalie. Yeah, we had a good time earlier. Boodles definitely had a good time. And it's the first time that Boodles found out what cannibalism really was. I had to explain it to him. And the look on his face was priceless. So tonight we're talking about the Navajo legend of the Skinwalkers. So, Navajo Skinwalkers, or the Witches of the Southwest. In Navajo culture, a Skinwalker is a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, and disguise themselves as an animal. The witch is called Inodoshi by the Navajo, which translates to, with it, he goes on all fours. It's one of the several types of Navajo witches and is considered the most volatile and dangerous. People here. Alright, so Navajo Skinwalkers. So for Navajo people, witchcraft is another part of their spirituality and one of the ways of their lives. Such witchcraft has long been part of their culture, history, and traditions. Witches exist alongside humans and are not supernaturals. Navajo believe that there are places with the powers of both good and evil are present, and that those powers can be harnessed for either. Medicine men utilize their powers to heal and aid members of their communities, while those who practice Navajo witchcraft seek to direct the spiritual forces harm or misfortune to others. This type of Navajo witchcraft is known as the witchery way, which uses human corpses in various ways, tools from the bones and concoctions that are used to curse, harm, or kill intended victims. Hey, Liz. Yep, that was definitely a surprise for Boodles when Boodles found out what cannibalism was. If you go back earlier and watch the PG version of Bedtime Stories for the Undead, the look on his face is priceless. And he took over the first, I think, 15 minutes ago, and the show only lasted about 40 minutes. But he definitely stole the show. So, where was I? Okay, no. Hold on one second. Do it in. Everybody wants to get on the podcast tonight. All right, so the knowledge of these powers is passed down from the elders through the generations. The Navajo are part of a larger culture that also includes the Pueblo, Apache, Hopi, and Ute, and other groups that also have their own versions of the Skinwalker. Both of these are all significant, but each includes a malevolent witch capable of transforming itself into an animal. Among these tribes, a number of stories and descriptions have been told throughout the years about the Skinwalkers. Sometimes these evolved from living their lives as respected healers or spiritual guides, who later chose to use their powers for evil. Can be either male or female. They are often male. They walk freely among the tribe during the day and secretly transform under the cover of night. In order to become a Skinwalker, he or she must be initiated by the secret society that requires the evilest of deeds, the killing of a close family member, most often a sibling. After this task has been completed, the individual then acquires supernatural powers, which gives them the ability to shapeshift into animals. Most often, they are seen in the form of coyotes, wolves, foxes, cougars, dogs, and bears. Oh my. But can take the shape of an animal. They then wear the skins of the animals to transform into. Hence the name, etc. They may transform again if trying to escape from pursuers. Let me pull up a picture that I pulled up. So that's one artist of what Skinwalkers are. And I got a picture of the Navajo tribe. These are two Navajo men. So that was a cool picture. A Navajo tribe. So one thing that's always fascinated me about Skinwalkers, mostly they are related to lycanthropy, the lycanthropy legends of werewolves. I've always been fascinated, and especially in the area that I'm in Virginia, we have our own legends of dogmen, which are cryptids, if you're familiar with that, which could be lycanthropes or skinwalkers. In this area, we had a lot of us around. I mean, Pocahontas is from a tribe that is 20 minutes away from where I'm at. Jamestown, Virginia. So continuing on with the Navajo legend. Stalkers are also able to take possession of the bodies of human victims if a person locks eyes with them. After taking control, the witch can make its victims do and say things they wouldn't otherwise do. Once they were shape-shifted, one way the others could tell that they were not a real animal is that their eyes are very different than those of the animal. Instead, their eyes are very human, and when lights are shined on them, they turn bright red. Alternatively, when they are in human form, eyes look more like animals. The evil society of witches gather in dark caves or secluded places for several purposes: initiate new members, plot their activities, harm people from a distance with black magic, or perform ceremonial rites. These rites are similar to tribal affairs, including dancing, feasts, rituals, and sand painting, but were corrupted with dark connotations. The evils are also said to engage in necrophilia with female corpses, commit cannibalism, incest, and grave robberies. During these gatherings, the skinwalkers shapeshift to their animal forms or go about naked, wearing only beaded jewelry and ceremonial paint. The leader of the skinwalkers is usually an old man, who is a very powerful and long-lived skinwalker. This is like very, very morbid. Some of these legends are pretty graphic. And Jace, because I said that. Warning, the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Accordingly, viewer discretion is advised. This is not the PG hour. So skinwalkers also have the powers, including reading others' minds, controlling their thoughts and behavior, causing diseases and illness, destroying and even death. Those who have talked of their encounters with these evil beings describe a number of ways to know if a skinwalker is near. Sounds around homes, such as knocking on windows, banging on walls, and scraping noises on the roof on some occasions. They have been spied peering through windows. More often they appear in front of vehicles in hopes of causing a serious accident. I'm trying to catch it with the comments a little bit here. Yeah, Boodles is adorable. He has his moments. Okay, we'll take a quick break. Before we do, if you haven't tuned in or went to our other pages, go to Psycho Bunny Death Cult and give a like. That's our fan preferred favorite. And also go to Psychomanium 13, our sister page, and give a like. And we have a YouTube page. If you type in Psycho Bunny Death Cult, it will automatically take you to the PBDC TV page, and subscribe. Tune in to all the great content artists. We have Mother De La Morte, Doomsday, Roots Bleed Red, The Metal Show, Night of the Living Dread, Stray Hair. Do the Legend of the Skinwalkers after this quick break, and I'll play a commercial. Get some coffee, caffeine, whatever you're drinking, human blood, animal blood, A positive. I've got Folgers. Ugh. Oh, God. Go back to typo. All right, we'll be right back.
This is Mr. Applewhite speaking. There is nothing wrong with your device. Join me here on Psycho Bunny DC. A delightfully dreadful consternation of horror content. Use your head and free your mind.
Coming to you live from Psycho Mantium 13. Join us here throughout the week for all things in audio, visual, and literary content. You can also find us on the World Wide Web at psychomantium13.com. Join Psychomantium 13 and enter the weird.
Hey, we're back with bedtime stories for the undead on Psycho Bunny Death Cult, Psycho Manium 13, and PBDC TV. And these hot nights during the summer, they bring out all kinds of creatures. Werewolves, vampires, cryptids, dogmen of Virginia, skinwalkers, which is what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about the Navajo, the legends. If you have any experience or any beliefs, or tell me what you think, put them in the comments. Let me know that you're watching, and I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your opinion is on these legends. I'd like for my audience to be involved. Well, where we left off was, it is said that in addition to being able to shapeshift, the skinwalker is also able to control the creatures such as wolves, owls, and to make them do its bidding. Some were able to call up the spirits of the dead and reanimate the corpses to their enemies. Because of this, the natives rarely ventured out alone. Its supernatural powers are uncanny, as they are faster than a car and have the ability to jump high cliffs. They are extremely fast, agile, possible to catch, and leave tracks that are larger than any animal. When they have been seen, they have been described as not quite human and not fully animal. They are usually naked, reported seeing the creature wearing tattered shirts or jeans. Skinwalker kills out of greed, anger, envy, spite, or revenge. It also robs graves for personal wealth and collect much ingredients for use in black magic. These witches live on the unexpired lives of their victims, and they must continually kill themselves. Skinwalkers and other witches have long been blamed for a manner of unexpected struggles and tragedies through the years, including sickness, drought, poor crops, and sudden deaths. Smaller or individual problems such as windstorms during dances, alienation of affection by mates, the death of livestock, and reverse fortune were often believed to be the work of a witch. Which kind of, if you look back in history, human history, witches often get blamed for all manner of sorts of misfortune. I mean, look at the Salem witch trials. I mean, the fiasco that caused, and all the horrific crimes that were committed to innocent people. I mean, I'm not an expert on the Salem witch trials by any means, but how many people died during that? By how many manners of execution? One man that was accused of being a witch during that whole Salem witch trial was crushed to death. when they laid rocks upon his chest till he suffocated? Probably in his own blood. How many innocent people were hung? I know some of the people that are watching right now know all this, so, let me know. So, Navajo skinwalkers, these legends, it's not much different probably than the Salem witch trials. Who knows how many people that witchcraft that were natives that got blamed for all manner sorts of misfortunes. One manner, I almost forgot about this. One manner of misfortune that skinwalkers were extremely blamed for was the Navajo Long Walk, as it's referred to. So, as far as people being blamed for to be years in the misfortunes that befell upon people, this was most apparent with the Navajo witch purge of 1878, which initially evolved from a cultural response to so many people moving across onto their lands. After a series of wars with the U.S., the Navajo were expelled from their land and forced to march to Fort Sumner in New Mexico. What is known as the Long Navajo. That happened in 1864. We got a comment, trying to answer as best as I can. Oi. People suffered from bad water, failed crops, illness, death, reducing their numbers dramatically. After about 4 years, the government finally admitted that they had made a mistake, and the Navajo were allowed to return to their homeland in the Four Corners area. During these years, many of the tribe's members had to have turned into shape-shifting to escape the terrible conditions. In the meantime, the rest of the tribe were convinced that their gods had deserted them. Once the people have returned to their homeland, their conditions improved. But the dreaded skinwalkers, for whom they blamed for their years on the bleak reservation, were still among them. Accusations of witchcraft and the hunting of skinwalkers began. When someone found a collection of witch artifacts wrapped in a copy of the Treaty of 1868, tribal members unleashed deadly consequences. That was called the Navajo Witch Purge, written in 1878, in which 40 Navajo suspected witches were killed in order to restore harmony and balance for the tribe. Today, most of the tidings of these witches do not include death or injury, but rather are more trickster-like. Numerous people have told stories of swift animals running alongside their wheels, matching their speed after a short period. However, they run off into the wilderness. Along the way, these animals sometimes turn into a man. Some bangs on the hood. Another story tells of a man who was making repairs on an old ranch home when he began to hear loud laughter come from nearby sheep pens. Thinking he was alone, he went to investigate and found all the sheep but one huddled in one corner of the pen. However, was a lone ram separated from the group that was standing upright and laughing in a very human manner. After the man locks eyes with the ram, he sees that his eyes are not that of an animal, but very like a human's. The animal then casually walked away on all four legs. Some say they have even seen them running through the night, sometimes turning into a fiery ball, leaving streaks of color behind them. Others have seen angry-looking humanoid figures lurking down on them from cliffs, mountains, and mesas. Trying to catch up on some of the comments. In the 1980s, one of the most notable events occurred when a family was driving from the Navajo reservation. As they slowed to make a sharp curve, something jumped from it. It was described as black, hairy, and wore shirt and pants. A few days after this event, at their home in Flagstaff, Arizona, the family was awakened to this loud drumming and chanting. Outside their home were 3 dark forms of men outside their fence. However, these shadowy creatures were seemingly unable to climb the fence. These events have occurred in the Four Corners area of southwest Colorado, southeast Utah, northeast Arizona, and northwest New Mexico. In the 1990s, Rerun, northeast Utah, far away from the Navajo reservation, became a partial focus of the Skinwalkers, called the Sherman Ranch. Skinwalker Ranch, also known as the Skinwalker Ranch, which Mother De La Morte also hit on one of her previous shows. So if you haven't tuned into that, go back and watch it. It's a great show. So the Sherman Ranch, or the Skinwalker Ranch, and the UFO Ranch. This place has a history of UFOs, aliens, cattle mutilations, crop circles. It's located near the Ute Indian Reservation. These people have long thought that the Navajo put a curse on their retribution for many perceived transgressions. And since then, the Skinwalkers have plagued the Ute people. And I know I'm not getting that right, and I apologize to any viewers from that tribe. Witchcraft represents the emphasis of Navajo culture values and is not tolerated. Antithesis. They work to avoid it, prevent it, and cure it, daily behaviors. However, when it exists, their laws have always said that when a person becomes a witch, that they've basically forfeited their humanity and their right to exist. So in the old ways, it's often perceived by that type of belief that they should be killed. However, skinwalkers are notoriously hard to kill, and attempts are usually unsuccessful. Trying to kill will often result in the witch seeking revenge. Successful killing generally requires the assistance of a powerful shaman who knows spells and rituals and that the skinwalker's evil back upon itself. Another alternative is to shoot the creature with bullets that have been dipped into white ash. However, a shot must hit the witch in the neck or the head. Usually a bullet made out of anything that somebody in the neck of the head will kill anything. So I'm not going to put that much thought into that particular legend. Traditionally, the Navajo will not speak with outsiders about these creatures. Retribution by the skinwalkers. For that matter, it is taboo subject amongst the natives themselves. Dr. Adrian Keene, a Native American academic writer and activist, was once quoted with saying, "These are not things that should be discussed by outsiders at all. Sorry if that seems unfair, but that's how our cultures survive." And if I can find the excerpt where that was once published, I'll put it in the next show. I thought that was a pretty cool quote. So in all, Skinwalker legend is basically animals associated with witchcraft usually include tricksters such as the coyote. However, it may include other creatures, usually those associated with bad omens. They may also possess living animals or people that walk around in their bodies. Skinwalkers may be male or female. Skinwalker stories told to Navajo children may complete life and death struggles that end in either Skinwalker or Navajo killing the other. Partial encounter stories that end in a stalemate. Counter stories may be composed as Navajo victory stories, with the Skinwalkers appearing a Hogan and being scared away. Non-native interpretations of Skinwalker stories typically take the form of partial encounter stories on the road. The protagonist is temporarily vulnerable, but then escapes from the Skinwalker in a way not traditionally seen in Navajo stories. Sometimes children take European folk stories and substitute skinwalkers for generic killers like the Hook. But who knows? Who knows if skinwalkers exist or not? If you visit a reservation or anywhere and you're alone and you see something on all fours with eyes that don't look animal but look more human, could be a skinwalker. So it's best not to anger it and walk the other way, far away. We're going to wrap that up here. We'll be back tomorrow night with more bedtime stories for the undead. Cemetery Joe will be back with Very Kids Fright Theater with a movie. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And that was the Navajo Legend of the Skinwalkers. Good night.
Thank you.